everybody. Good afternoon. ETInfra Rail Show cannot be complete without a panel on urban mobility, right? Because, throughout the day we discuss topics like public financing, capex, technology transformation, AI, digital twins. But this is one topic that resonates even with the common masses, right? Because it's a part of the daily life. And for many for whom it is still not, I'm sure the operators here, the chief of the operators here, and for the people in general, their endeavor is to bring more and more people onto the network. And so that is why I believe the urban mobility in India is it an inflection point. Beyond metros, today we are seeing emergence of regional transit system, the RRTS, Lakshmanji, the revival of suburban networks, right? The growing emphasis on transit-oriented development. And the question now is that how do we make it more financially sustainable? How do we integrate it with other modes of transport? Using technology, how can we, make the passenger experience more smooth? And this is what, will be the focus, broad focus of our discussion today. So in the opening comments, Vikasji, if you can start, big policy impetus from the Viksit Bharat vision, the PM Gati Shakti. In your opening comments to set the tone of our panel today, where do you see the next decade of urban mobility going in? If you could start, sir.
A very good morning to all of you. I would like to say that right now, the urban scenario is such that the urban population is increasing at a very rapid pace, and rightly so, because if you see, almost 70% of GDP is expected to come from the urban part of India. And as a result, we expect that around 40% of the population would be residing in urban areas. So definitely this migration towards urban is bound to happen. So our cities have to gear up to provide relevant infrastructure to people so that they can do their businesses properly, they can live properly, they can do other activities in a proper manner. And for this, mobility also is a very important factor, where people should be able to commute properly to their workplaces, to their homes, to recreation centers, to shopping centers, and maybe other activities which they require in day-to-day life. And this should be at a reasonable cost and also time. These factors are very important. And if you see the way the public transportation network has grown in NCR, we started from our journey in 2002 when we opened the first line, and now we are 416 kilometers with 303 odd stations in the NCR region. And still, phase 5, which is to come up, 5A has been sanctioned with, in fact, 16 kilometer length, and another 200 kilometers is on the anvil. This is very much required because a mass rapid transit system has to become the backbone, and then it has to be, I would say, supplemented with last mile connectivity options, multimodal integration, and to have a seamless, transit for the commuters. There should be an integrated ticketing system also. And this multimodal connectivity and interchanges should also become seamless. So, and lastly, but which has come very recently, the TOD policy, which in April 26 has been now rolled out by DDA, and that seems to be a very welcome step, because for the first time now it has been decided that these zones of 500 meters near the metro station, and the complete alignment has been taken now. Earlier it was like stations, but the complete alignment now has been taken, and it has to be a mixed use one, so that all housing, business, your hospitals, your education, everything is there, is a mixed thing, and it is near the hub of the transportation, so that people can walk to those activities, and if some long travel is there, then they can use the MRTS system. So this will relieve the congestion also, and even the pollution, because if you see the the motorized traffic leads to around 12% of carbon emissions in our country. So that, I would say, an MRTS system like a Delhi Metro, we very much take care of this right from the beginning, that we sequester the carbon emissions, we take care of the environment in this manner. So these things are there. Of course, there are issues in a city like Delhi, because it is already a brownfield project, and with these neighborhoods to develop, or I would say redevelop, it would take time, and it would take a lot of collaboration with various stakeholders. But definitely this is a very welcome step, that this transit oriented development has now been rolled out, and it will take form. If you see, already this was being done by Metro already, as a, I would say, corollary of Metro coming up, or some in fact neighborhoods coming up, and as a result Metro going there. If you see the case of Dwarka sub-city, if you see Millennium City Center, Dwarka Sector 21, even Chavdi Bazaar. So this has resulted in improving the neighborhoods, but these were very, I would say, staggered activities, and now this would be structured under this policy, and it would definitely pay dividends. So this is what I want
Very,
to say.
very rightly put, Vikasji. And I think, yeah, as he rightly pointed out, Delhi NCR has the transport system here has been really the benchmark. If you look at the stats, 1,000 kilometers of metro network, bulk of it is Delhi Metro. Ridership of 1 crore per day, bulk of it is Delhi Metro. So really, and the topics that you touched upon, I think we'll go through on the panel. But Lakshmanji, before I get into the specifics of how suburban rail is now fitting with metro systems, your quick thoughts and setting the context for our topic today.
Good afternoon to all. As you know, I am managing director of a new company called K-Ride, but it's a most innovative, most challenging in many sense. As you know, that Bangalore is one of the second most slowest city in the world, but at the same time most beautiful environment, climatically most beautiful place to live in. I am going to create a infrastructure of 148 kilometer of suburban network, which is having all four direction of the city, as well as a diagonal network. So as we go about, I am going to reduce around 100 ton of carbon and methane, carbon dioxide and methane. It's a network which is untouched. Most of the metro network and other network are moving around the median of the road network, which has already either had seen the development or it's a developed landscape is quite beautifully placed. Bangalore suburban network is moving around along the Indian Railway network, and landscape is normally having the highly FAR of 1, whereas the city might be having FAR of 3. But development around the railway, due to various constraints, because railway is supposed to be untouched area, is not there as far as the city development is concerned. But I am creating a 58 nodal focal point for the development, which is going to create the FAR. FAR permitted to me is around 5, but 5 consumption may not be feasible at the time because the road width and all. But even if FAR is going to change the entire landscape of the city, it is going to create new work center, new employment center. The way people see to the city in and around periphery of radius of 0.15 to 1 kilometer is going to change around the Bangalore city, all the 4 direction, including the diagonal one. It's one of the most innovative financing scheme also, where we have thought of financing the project through the value capturing fund. It's happening. It may not be at the pace at which the desired to have. The finance of the company is being managed with the budgetary support of Government of India as well as the Government of Karnataka. So in this, and we have planned to have the not only carbon neutral, rather we are working for becoming carbon negative. So this transit-oriented development with a FAR of 5, redeveloping the city in a pattern which is not completely untouched, is going to change the entirely the lifestyle of the public. And one of the beautiful aspects of my project is that we are connecting with the 17 station with the metro station, and at 22 places with the Indian Railway station, and we are connecting around 24 BMTC. So this is going to be really what we talk about, the multimodal integration. Multimodal integration is going to take place at more than 70% of our network. So the entire city will see a sea change sort of thing once our network will be in place. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, Lakshmanji. Sanjay ji, before I just go to you, Vikas ji, since Lakshmanji, now he's working on a suburban project, I'm sure Delhi Heights will have memories of Delhi's own suburban system, the Delhi Ring Rail. Any sort of discussions, because the Delhi Master Plan 2041 talks about integration between that metro and the Ring Rail. Any sort of possibility of reviving that system, or having some sort of integration with Delhi Metro in the future?
Have integration with many Indian railway stations in the NCR region. And whatever is coming up, like RRTS is also coming up, so we are having interchanges. And as you said, that with the Indian railway stations also, we are collaborating with them to have a seamless sort of approach, so that it is easy for the passengers. So the approach is like this, that it has to be people-centric.
Yes.
In fact, for whatever planning of infrastructure to be done should be people-centric. That is the policy now, and it would definitely give results. As far as suburban of you are talking about the Ring Rail in Delhi, that probably now with the coming of metro, probably their suburban traffic is not much. We are having almost, I would say, 6.5 million journeys a day, if you see on an average. And it has gone up to, in a day, maybe 8 million also at times peak. So that is there. Definitely, whatever hubs are there where it is for the convenience of passengers, definitely we will have plans with the railways to have integration. So if you take the case of this, Badli is there, where we have, then Anand Vihar is there, New Delhi is there, Sarai Kale Khan is there, and certain others are also there, like Pratap Nagar. So these places where we are planning to have a proper seamless interchange.
Thank you, sir. Sanjay ji, Kochi Metro has often been cited, as India's most innovative mobility projects because of, the focus of integrated mobility initiatives. What has been that biggest lesson from Kochi's experience that you feel other cities can learn from your journey?
Okay, as you know that Kochi is basically metro is known for the sustainability, because not only the effort, it is the geography is like that only. It is located within 10 different islands. And right from the beginning, our approach is that to basically respect the sustainability. Like from the beginning of the project, we have started thinking of the solar power system. So accordingly, we had around 51% of solar, and then every year as the project basically the increases, we also, and basically whatever is the land area, or even the providing the gantry over the track, or even the depot roads, wherever is possible, all the rooftop, we have covered almost every area wherever we can do. And by doing so, we have achieved around 51%. And what we are doing, we have taken some land. State government, I'm thankful to the state government. They have given some 50 acres of land, wherein we'll be adding up around 16 megawatt of further power, and then by doing so, in a year or so, at least our phase one of the operation, which is around 28.3 kilometer with 25 stations, we'll have a fully renewable energy operation, and then we can say it's like a net zero. And then for our phase two, still we are endeavoring to get this one. So this is number one. Now coming back to our water metro. Water metro is really a very successful and challenging project which was done. Why water metro? Because water metro is the cost wise, if you go, it will basically cost 1/10 of a metro. And it will be like when I was just previous lesson, I was listening with that madam that okay, mostly this land acquisition is a big problem. And when we come in the water metro, there is no land acquisition issue as such. So you can get it done quickly. There are policies, there are rules available like Inland Waterways Act. They have got their act. Only thing is that act need to be modified to suit our water metro. Our water metro is basically a battery dual operated, of course, with the DG also, but the operation mostly we are doing on the battery only. And for that also we are looking for this renewable energy. Now coming back to the lessons or basically the application of this project. Based on the success of this project, it was commissioned by Honorable Prime Minister on 25th April 2023. And then onwards, so far we have achieved around 7+ millions of our commuters ridership. So based on this success, then we have been given a mandate to carry out this feasibility study of 18 cities in a country, almost covering most of the states wherever this water body is available. And then accordingly, then in last 3-4 months, we have conducted this feasibility study. You take it from top to bottom. It's like from Assam to Jammu Kashmir, and then further down south. So everywhere, wherever they have given around 18 cities, and plus 3-4 more cities directly given by the state government, where all we have conducted the feasibility study, and we have given the reports. And not only that, we have conducted this Mumbai. Basically, Mumbai is a more challenging this transport. So where we have conducted, we have provided DPR, and then which is basically around 7,000 crores of project with 250 kilometer of route length and 50 terminals. I think once it gets commissioned, a lot of the problems will ease out. Although a lot of things are being done, but this will help like next few, what do you say, like a future transportation. So, and not only this, our country, in fact, we are getting this through our embassy. We are getting the mandate from other countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, South Africa, and then many more. Still nothing finalized, but talks are going on, and I hope in near future it will be done. Right. So now another one is like you're talking about what lessons. So basically, again, I will say all the not only metro buses, ferries, all are working in a silos. So my only thing is that if they work together, and there should be an agency called like a UMTA kind of agency. If they are there, so they will have some kind of a control, because passenger is one, and he needs only one experience. If he comes out of his house, he need not worry about how to go, where to go. Where to go is already decided. So through his phone or mobile phone or through some means, he will buy only one ticket, that is unified ticket, or you can say one QR. And through that, whatever modes transport he is experiencing, he should just go aboard it and then reach to his destination, because he has to commute daily, and commuting time matters a lot in his life. So that should be quality and meaningful. So this is all about, I think I should give time for other audience also. Thank you so much.
But very rightly put, sir. Rahulji, if I would like to talk about the financing now, projects are getting more capital intensive. So it brings us to, ensuring sustainable financing. Going forward, if you could do some crystal gazing as to what mechanism will dominate urban mobility transit or transport systems, public funding, PPPs, land value capture mechanisms, or sort of a combination of all three coming together. What are your thoughts on that?
Very good afternoon, everyone. And I think the points that my previous speakers made Just to capture a bit, because I have experience in the urban sector in my previous stint as JS in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and coming back to the railways, looking after public-private partnerships and resource mobilization. What I feel, when you look at the urban systems and urban transportation in particular, there's a fairly fragmented kind of approach that we have in India today. There are a multitude of agencies, and this multi-agency coordination is one big challenge. So when we look at the problem, technology is not really a constraint, but we have to look at the institutional design, and we have to look at the financial structuring that we need to have to basically be able to fund whatever Vision 2047 goals and targets are. The scale of investment that is required is significant. There's a Vision 2047 study that was being done by the SCGOS, and they had anticipated close to 800 lakh crores by 2047 for all the infrastructure sector in total. Railways had invested around 110 lakh crores, urban had around 400 lakh crores. Now, if you look at the funding of the sources of funding, we have only 3% of private investment that is flowing into infrastructure today. This needs to go up to 16 to 18%. And when you're talking about taking it up to 16 to 18%, we need to make our transportation projects more bankable, more viable. So today, when we look at urban transport in terms of metros, you look at railways, the constraints are fairly similar. You have land acquisition as a big challenge. Then railway transportation being a system of systems, you have an operational system, you have civil structures, you have electrical subsystems, you have first and last mile connectivities, and you also have integration with the urban system as a whole. So all this adds to a risk premium on project financing. The long gestation period, the heavy capex investments, and the delayed returns wherein it takes decades for the projects to become financially viable. So somewhere we need to structure the projects better, and that's where it's not just about PPPs that will help fill the gap. So you need to basically target the project into 4 parts. First, when you're looking at risk balancing. So whatever risk allocation that has to be done between the private sector partner and the government, that needs to be balanced. You need to look at the concession frameworks, because that has to be transparent. A lot of time when you look at the contractual obligations of the concessionaire and the authority, so somewhere that lack of transparency leads to project execution challenges and delays. You also need to look at dispute resolution mechanism, which needs to be more efficient, because in case of any disputes between the contractors and concessionaires and the authority, whether there's an efficient mechanism for exits and substitutions, and how do you operationalize that? And you also need to look at the policy frameworks, because policy flip-flops are not something that the private sector investor are very comfortable with. So when you look at policy framework, you need stability. So these 4 factors are going to be very important as we structure projects. Then we need to look at the newer instruments of financing that can be used in a blended financing way. So what are the things that we are talking about today? We are talking about asset monetization strategies. Now, asset monetization is not really divestment, but it has to be looked at as a capital recycling strategy, where there are brownfield projects that can help finance newer investments. So how do you do that? It has been done in other sectors very, very effectively. There's more than 6 lakh crores of, let us say, InvITs that has flown into the country in sectors like road transport and highways and ports. But somewhere, rail transportation, metro transport that we are looking at, we need to look at how do we monetize our existing assets so as to fund future growth. We are talking about innovative financing mechanisms like carbon credit monetization. Now, this is a very emerging field, which has got a lot of complications, challenges, but it requires a lot of governance frameworks that need to be placed first, wherein we can actually start looking at what can be monetized, what are the standards available today. So it's something which requires a lot of deliberations by the organizations that are engaged in. So I think we'll probably discuss more as we go forward. I'll give time to the other panelists to also give their views, and thank you.
Yeah. Before, Shamik, I will move on to the technology part, because we're discussing, financing. Because, when it comes to PPP, as Rahulji was also mentioning, private capital remains scarce into the sector. We've had some experience with the airport line, and now, in the Hyderabad Metro also, What really needs to be done here? That more private capital flows into the sector. How do you see this?
As is told already that there should be mechanisms in place and substitution should be improved, the dispute resolution should be improved.
Yes.
These are the factors. And first of all, transparency also should be there so that a person knows where he is venturing into and what are the returns which are expected from there. So, but again, I want to tell you that the public transportation world over is something which you cannot make it tangible with the whatever you invest. It has to, because it gives dividends in a lot of things which are not tangible, but if you convert that monetarily, then you see that dividends are much more than what is it. If you see the investment may be thousands of crores, but again, what it has returned back to the society, if you try to monetize it, as it is done when the project is at the time of appraisal, we have a system to monetize those activities which or whatever it has in fact benefit it has brought to the society. So if you see that, take the case of Delhi Metro, then probably maybe in a year to the tune of 8 to, this is a most pessimistic, but 8,000 crores it has returned back to the society. So that is there. So talking about, but sustainability definitely is required, and for that definitely non-fare box revenue has to pitch in, and for that this TOD policy is in place. But as people said that some unified metropolitan transportation authority is required, so that whatever money is coming, and that has again been laid down in the policy now very clearly, that whatever money comes, it will go to this UTF fund, and that fund will be used only for the infrastructure, not anywhere else, not for any expenditure, not for any salaries. So definitely that is a welcome step, and it will help sustain this, because these are highly capital intensive, and even if you want to say after mid-cycle refurbishment, these also require a lot of money. So those all would come from these automatically.
All right, thank you. Lakshmanji, a quick take from you on, maybe land value capture mechanism, since we're discussing this.
As other panelists has already spoken about, on the line of UMTA, Government of Karnataka has formulated company BMLTA, Bangalore Metropolitan Land Transport Authority. Order has been passed and it has been made effective from 23. It has not been basically transferring the fund to the different infrastructure organization, but it's very heartening to know all of you most probably this. There are two important revenue receipt to the government once mass transit system comes to a place. Once they charge it for the cess and surcharge, which you can say the betterment fee, and other part is that FAR, which they used to give higher FAR where the mass transit system is available. So based on that, this surcharge component and all, this mass transit facility providers by GOK, like our suburban rail system, is going to have 47% share out of it. And for as far as higher FAR permissible, for that we are going to get around 22% share from the government funding. And the model system has been made into place. So this is one of the major policy intervention, I'll say, that which is going to fund all the mass transit infrastructure project in the government of Karnataka, especially at Bangalore. So this, and to make the city to have seamless and sustainable transport system, as I told earlier that Bangalore is notorious for being the second slowest city in the world, because this modal share of mass transit system at Bangalore is hardly 32%. Whereas to have a city with a better mass transit system, and have the environment within the control, this ratio of mass transit system should be around 70 to 80%. So gradually, government of Karnataka has targeted with a different scheme by peripheral ring road and then peripheral rail also they are thinking of. Then we have been also given some concept thing to joint with the adjoining city of Bangalore in the radius of around 100 kilometers with RRTS type of system. So this whole gamut of the planning is going to have the mass transit system ratio will be pushed around 60%, still not desired level of 70 to 80%, but presently we are at 32. So we target it by another 5 years or 10 years when this suburban rail system and some more corridor of metro comes up, we'll be reaching the mass transit ratio of around 70%. So this will change the people, the way people live, the way people work, and their livelihood will entirely change.
Right. Thank you, sir. Shamik, let me come to you on the technology part. We mentioned it in the beginning on how, technology can best be integrated, to make the passenger experience more smooth. Vikas ji was also mentioning about, common ticketing platforms. So, when we look at India's model, we have something like UPI when it comes to payment. How far are we, from a breakthrough when it comes to such a platform in mobility, to truly realize that, a mobility as a service platform? Your thoughts on it?
So UPI became what it is today because that green tick meant something. That green tick meant trust. Now, trust is extremely important even to get to modal shift that sir was mentioning earlier, from 30% to 60%. That modal shift would happen only if people start trusting the systems, the bus system, the metro, suburban rail. Now, for people to start trusting the systems have to be reliable. Now, in an Indian scenario, wherein Bangalore is the second slowest city, that reliability will come into picture, not always, because of there is ambient traffic. Now, in case the systems may not necessarily be reliable, the best way to make the systems trustworthy is by communicating to the people who are using those systems. For us to communicate that the bus is going to arrive 10 minutes late, technology is that means. So technology is something that can drive trust. Now, how can technology drive trust? One way is by multimodal integration. So multimodal integration from a physical standpoint might be a little challenging because of the infrastructure constraints that we have. But from a tech perspective, multimodal integration is fairly easy. Like we have done for the city of Mumbai, AMNEX developed a unified application wherein we have integrated 11 modes of transportation. This includes suburban rail, 4 metro networks, and 5 bus systems that run in and around the city. So a commuter using metro, suburban, and bus essentially gets one single ticket, and it just does not stop at ticket itself. What we do is the commuter also gets estimated time of arrival based on real-time data. Let's say, for example, my first leg was a bus system, and I booked my ticket. I exactly know that the bus is going to arrive after 7 minutes, and the distance from my home to bus stop is 2 minutes. So I can start right on time so that I don't have to wait a significant amount of time on the bus stop, hop into the bus, know that my train is going to arrive after 30 minutes, get into the right train, and ensure that my last leg, which could be informal public transit, let's say, for example, a shared auto or a Ola or an Uber, is already booked. So I think India is at that moment wherein the government of India is also pushing through ONDC significantly, and all the transit operators, and it was earlier said as well that we need an entity like AMTA. So if an entity like AMTA exists, wonderful, that entity could take up the initiative to create such an app, or any leading transport operator within the city could take up such initiative, integrate all the modes of transport so that the reliability improves, by which the trust improves, and if the trust improves, then a UP-like system can definitely exist for transportation.
Right. Thanks, Shamik. Sanjay ji, in your opinion, what do you see the technology's role in improving the commuter experience? If you could share some insights on that.
As Mr. Samik has said, rightly said, that trust can be built up with the technology. Like multimodal integration, of course, because there are 5 pillars in multimodal integration, that physical, institutional, fare integration, and then information integration and network integration. So every other metro is trying to build at least 2, 3 or whatever. In fact, their endeavor is to provide all 5 core areas of the multimodal integration. But at least what is more important for the passenger currently is this fare and information. Like if somebody has come out of his house, he should know that what time is my next train or what mode of communication is available. And moreover, these days, mobile is available. So mobile, if it is all connected, mobile knows that whether there is a occupancy, what is the occupancy of this train which is going to come in a few minutes, and then let's say you travel from A to B. From B again you have to take a bus or a ferry. So that also, that your mobile knows that okay, this particular train or this first mode of transport will reach at such time, and then another mode is available, let's say in a gap of 2 minutes, which is easy for you to basically switch over or to get that particular next mode of transport. Then you go to from B to C. There also you can you can switch over to, let's say, auto or bus, so that you can reach your destination in time. Only when this multimodal integration, at least 2 or 3 pillars are interconnected or are provided by any of the system. And as we are all talking, UMTA is of course is a very necessary thing as of now, because then this silos problem will not get solved unless this UMTA comes into the picture.
Right. Thank you, Sanjay. My timer shows just last 2 minutes, so let me wrap it quickly and let's make it a bit interesting. My last question to you, I would expect, one word, one sentence. Imagine 10 years from now, you're reading the Economic Times. What is that one headline that you would want to read about urban mobility, urban transit, that would make you go, yes, that we got it right? Rahulji, if you could start.
I would say city transportations that work.
Okay. Lakshmanji?
Safe, sustainable, seamless.
Okay. Vikasji, where do you see the progress happening there?
I would say transportation where a child can move easily and safely to the station to go to school, where a senior citizen can move very easily in shaded path to reach the station and go for his commute, and where a laborer can use his last mile to go to the stations and commute easily. So it should be definitely covering the needs of all strata of society, and it should be faster than any other private commute.
Very rightly said. And given how Delhi Metro is expanding, I'm sure that having a metro station in the 500 meters vicinity of a household or residence will be a reality. Sanjay ji.
Just to add on the MD DMRCs, basically, if you say that only one word or one sentence, I would say the objective of mobility as a service, if it is achieved, we can say that okay, we have reached to the certain extent.
Okay. Shamik?
So 80% people in this room coming to this same conference after 10 years using local transport,
okay,
public transport. Number one. Number two would be ONDC transactions upwards of 40 crores for public transit within a single day.
Well, thank you so much. That's all the time we have, and we'll not stand a lot longer between you and the lunch. Thank you, panelists. It was lovely talking to you. One question.
Yeah, we can take 2 questions because, of course, we have vouchers as well.
We'll just have one question because I think Vikasji had a meeting.
My question to you is that 18 cities, is there a timeline to it? What are the challenges? Now, India has been traditionally a wonderful coastline and internal waterways, but then there would be draft problem, this, that. So is there a timeline to it? Because that will add a lot of seamless connectivity at a very, very affordable price. And so that this water metro becomes a Dhurandhar in the coming days in the urban mobility. So what are the challenges, and how you are gearing up? And is that report already in the public domain, that 18 cities?
Thank you. It is a very good question. See, actually the feasibility study, as you right, say like a drought or any other water conditions, all those have been included as a part of the feasibility study. However, before going for the project, we need to have a DPR. So DPR, as I've said, that we are prepared only for the Mumbai, and then we are in the pipeline, means order is yet to come for this Goa. So these 2 places, and the challenges of course, since there won't be any challenges because but the one project is already successful. Challenges was initially when we faced because the design of this boat itself was a big challenge. That because this is the first of its kind in the whole world, and it's the largest electric fleet operation by the Kochi Metro. This also across the whole world. And the challenges we face initially, as I told in the design, like battery design, and then the catamaran. And then surviving this, basically it goes along the city where the lot of mangroves and other fishes are there. So you have that ecosystem, water ecosystem should not get disturbed. So these were the challenges which were resolved in the beginning itself, but which took around 2 to 3 years. So I hope everywhere the water body and the maybe the property is more or less the same. Somewhere I think where they're directly connected to the sea, where some rough and these things are there. There also there are certain challenges we have faced, which we are technologically we have already solved it.
The first phase saw a hybrid system with a diesel and electric.
Yes,
World
sir.
over, there are now instances and actual live examples which is only electric, because with the mobility and renewable energy. So would you still continue with the diesel plus electric, or the battery operated system are safe enough?
No, we will go only for this battery only, because not only battery, this hydrogen is also coming up.
Yeah.
In fact, the Kochi Metro has recently, not Kochi Metro, our Cochin Shipyard Limited has given 2 hydrogen boats to Varanasi. That is
So that would be a very progressive step.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
We will not be going for the diesel operated DG
Right.
sets.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon to all of you. This is Akhilesh Kumar Mishra from Ashoka Buildcon Limited. Sir, actually मेरा क्वेश्चन नहीं, मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है. क्या हो रहा है कि अभी हम लोग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की बात कर रहे हैं और टाइमली प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवरी की बात कर रहे हैं, बट जब हम टेंडर को डिसाइड करते हैं और उसमें क्लॉजेस डिसाइड करते हैं और अप्रूव्ड वेंडर भी लिखते हैं, तो हो ये रहा है कि जो अप्रूव्ड वेंडर है वो उस क्लॉजेस को स्पेसिफिकेशन और सप्लाई के टर्म में कि हम उसको मान लें, बट प्राइस वेरिएशन के टर्म में वो उसको मान नहीं रहा है. तो जब हम उसको अप्रूव्ड करें, चाहे वो आरडीएस हो, चाहे मेट्रो हो या कोई भी अथॉरिटी हो, तो उसमें उस प्राइस वेरिएशन क्लॉज को जो हम पर अप्लाई हो रहा है, सेम उसको अगर वो इम्प्लीमेंट करे तो हम लोगों को आसान रहे. अभी हम 160 kmph में 2x25 kV OHE का प्रोजेक्ट एक्सिक्यूट कर रहे हैं. हो ये रहा है इंसुलेटर की पार्टी जो है, इंसुलेटर न तो डिलीवर कर पा रही है टाइमली, और दूसरा 50% रेट विद इन पीओ बढ़ा के कह रही है कि भैया आप इतना दोगे तो मैं आपको सप्लाई करूंगा. प्रोजेक्ट वहीं पे डिलीवरी फेल होता है जहां पे सप्लायर उस टेंडर कंडीशन को, प्राइस वेरिएशन को नहीं मानता है. तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है आप सभी से, जब भी टेंडर आप डिसाइड करें तो एक बार जो है प्री बिड मीटिंग जब आप बुलाते हैं, या तो उसको समझें, या तो टेंडर पॉलिसी डिसाइड करने से पहले हम लोगों से पूछ लें क्या है. तो वहां पे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फेलियर्स आता है, प्रोजेक्ट डिले करता है, और सारा जो है कंडीशन 24 मंथ आपने दिया एक्सटेंड होता है, तो वो हम पर इम्पोज हो जाता है. तो इसलिए मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि बस मैं इसलिए आपको बोल रहा हूं. थैंक यू.
Will be incorporated. Vikas ji has an important meeting to do, so I will have to wind it up. I would request you take the questions offline with other speakers. Thank you so much.